So since we just finished chanting Kol Nidre, let's just take a moment to breathe together. I know I need a moment. So your eyes can be open or closed or anywhere in between. Just a slow breath in and a relaxed breath out. All the efforting that was necessary to arrive here tonight, just let it go. You made it. We're here. And this constellation of humans here in this sanctuary, in your homes, on live stream, and even those who will watch a recording of this moment at some time in the future, they are here with us too. Take a moment as we breathe together to feel any hurt or heartache you're bringing with you tonight. Any regret or disappointment. This is often the hardest thing we ever do, is just to sit with a hard feeling. I invite you not to repress it or judge it, but just to be with it. Take one final deep breath and let it go. And you can feel free to open your eyes if you close them. Okay, if you were starting to get worried that I was going to lead a meditation tonight, rather than give a sermon, you can relax. There will be no forced collective breathing. But to quote Rabbi Elsa, you know, from the movie Frozen, we are here tonight to let it go. How? While we think of Kol Nidre as a prayer, it's actually more like a legal formula used to release all vows. All vows, promises, and proclamations we are likely to make over the next 24 hours. All oaths and pledges we're likely to take between this Yom Kippur and the next, we publicly release. Let every promise be released, neither firm nor established. Let all our aspirations and intentions go. Quite simply, the words of Kol Nidre prime us to let go of all the resolutions we made last year at this very moment, to release our past mistakes, and to loosen our grip on whatever the future may hold. While the haunting and evocative melody of Kol Nidre moves us, the words have the potential to move us as well. They remind us that despite our urge to grasp and cling and cleave to what has or has not happened in the past, or what will or will not happen in the year to come, ultimately, in the end of things, we have to let everything go. And that's what I want to talk about tonight, letting go. Nearly 2 years ago, on a cold day in January, our son Adi was riding his bike on the sidewalk along Falls of Neuse, just in front of the Starbucks in Falls Village Shopping Center. With his bike helmet secured on his head, thank you, God, and following all the rules for bike safety, Adi was struck by a car that jumped the curb going 40 miles per hour and sent him flying. I got the call from EMS that no parent ever wishes to receive, but he was alive and help was there. And I trusted that in time he would be okay. Miraculously, despite a cracked helmet and a body covered in bruises and lacerations, Adi broke no bones, and we took him home from the ER later that night with nothing more than crutches to ease the pain while his wounds healed. About 2 weeks later, in typical Adi fashion, he was moving around again with his usual sense of joy. But Adi knew psychospiritually that he had to return to the site of the accident. So soon, I said, how about I go with you? What if you walk there instead of riding a bike? No, Ima, he said, I need to go by myself, and I need to get back on a bike, a new bike. And so he did. and I let him go. Have you ever noticed that newborns enter the world clenching their fists? It's due to a neurologic reflex called palmar grasp. This reflex is activated when something is pushed into a newborn's palm, like a caregiver's finger. It's instinctual and mirrors the curled position that they had in the womb. But as infants get older, their hands open up and their fingers and thumbs uncurl more and more often. And if anyone has had the privilege to sit with someone who has taken their very last breath, you know that in the end, they open their hands and let go. We enter this world with clenched fists. We leave this world with open hands. Yom Kippur is our yearly reminder that we are not going to live forever. None of us. Everyone we love will die. If you're feeling uncomfortable hearing these words, you are not alone. Frankly, it's terrifying to think about losing any of the things, from my creature comforts, to our pets, to the relationships we treasure, to our homes, to the planet as we have known it. Most of us respond to this fear and discomfort by pushing it away or grasping even more tightly. Kol Nidre comes to remind us of the truth. Nothing is permanent. All the prayerful words we say over the next 24 hours, they're important. But ultimately, we must let them go as well. After all, why do we celebrate these days of awe in the fall, when the leaves begin falling and much of the growing season comes to a close? It serves as a seasonal reminder to shed what we no longer need. Even the trees must let go. And Kol Nidre is not the only ritual during this season which exhorts us to practice letting go. Many of us gathered on a rainy second day of Rosh Hashanah to participate in the ritual of Tashlich. Tashlich literally means let it go. It's a ritual Jews have performed for centuries by gathering alongside a living water source as we cast off our breadcrumbs or pebbles. As the old joke goes, for complex sins, multigrain bread, for sins committed in haste, matzah, and the sin of being holier than thou, a bagel. But seriously, in releasing these small bits, we practice in an embodied way, letting go of our mistakes, our misdeeds, and our missed opportunities to grow. We symbolically release what we did or didn't do, and in doing so, give ourselves permission to begin anew with open hands. Life gives us endless opportunities to practice letting go. Letting go is never a once and for all proposition. Rather, it's an ongoing process of shedding, releasing layers of stories and attachments, as well as outdated ideas about ourselves and the nature of this life. If we're doing the work, we are continually offered a reflection of where we need to release. And we're given the repeated invitation to let go over and over and over. I'll give you some examples. Every stage of growing up invites us to individuate from our parents. We let go of their hold on us, even as we continue to honor them. I believe this is all in service of letting our parents go in peace when it is their time to depart from the world. And as parents, we practice letting go each and every day. We send them to preschool or college. We put them on the school bus or let them drive themselves. We help them move out and move on again and again. We release our hold on the lives we dreamed for them as they forge the lives they desire for themselves. But letting go is not only intergenerational work. Yom Kippur is an invitation to let go of our old sense of self. My beloved yoga teacher, Carrington, always invites us at the end of every yoga class, as we emerge from our final resting pose, to let the old version of ourselves slide off our backs as we welcome the new people we have become, born of our practice. But this doesn't only happen on the yoga mat. It happens each and every day, and is especially helpful to notice as we move through Yom Kippur. Which previous version of yourself will you allow to slide off your back as you exit this sanctuary tonight? What prior version of yourself is passing away as we enter the year 5784? Yom Kippur is also a time to release the stories we have told that no longer serve us. Stories like, my success has to look a certain way, or I'm not capable of, or my past will inevitably determine my future, or I need to shrink myself to make room for someone else, or I'm not worthy of the kind of love I desire. These and so many others are stories that I hear from congregants all the time. They're stories that defy what is true. These stories keep us from moving forward with greater freedom and peace. Maybe it's time to release a story you inherited from your family, a story which fed you a version of yourself which is no longer true and maybe never was. So much letting go. One caveat. Sometimes we need to continue to hold on to a difficult relationship, repeat a negative pattern, or tell an old story many, many times before we're really ready to let it go. Maybe, like me, there are things you are still working on being ready to release, whether it's a hurt that is still raw, a difficult conversation that still needs working through, or your willingness to forgive yourself for a mistake. But there's a big difference between holding on because we're on autopilot and holding on with mindful awareness because we are truly not ready to let go yet. When these holding patterns operate in the background of our awareness, they are reinforced. When they operate in the foreground of our awareness, they're actually preparing for release. We may just need more time. Prayer can help us bring these holding patterns into the foreground of our awareness so that when we are ready, we can let go. Most of us are not Buddhists, or better yet, Jubus. We don't aspire to a life of non-attachment. There are actually things to hold on to. But Yom Kippur invites us to really consider what they are. Eitz chaim hi lamachazikim ba. It's a tree of life to those who hold it fast. It's okay to grasp some things and hold on tight. But in the very end, all things must be released. And with this, I will close. This past year, I sat beside a particularly wise woman as she lay dying. And as I held her hand, she looked in my eyes and said, "It turns out you have to let go of everything." We arrived into this world with nothing, and we will depart with nothing. May we use this sacred day to practice the art of letting go. And with that, I invite everyone to join me in taking a deep breath and let it go. Gamar Chatima Tova.